Hello everyone, I'm Jack Fisher and welcome to my world. Before I go any further in this video, I just have a few questions for you. Are you sick of living paycheck to paycheck? Do you feel like you're not living up to your potential? Do you struggle with low confidence, poor social skills, and an empty love life? Do you want to improve at everything you do? To become a true master at everything you set your mind to? Well, I'm glad you clicked on this video, because I have the answers for you. Is exactly what I would say if I were another one of those bullshit gurus, motivational speakers, or scam artists who sadly have since populated YouTube after infomercials fell out of favor. But thankfully, I am not that dishonest or unscrupulous. I would never claim to know the answer to such complex issues, especially for people I've never met. And anyone who does is either lying to you, trying to sell you something, or both. And usually, it's both. Now, why do I bring this up? One, I've recently seen a glut of video ads featuring some notable YouTube gurus, and they're hawking everything from get-rich-quick schemes to dating tips to some special new health regimen. They may vary in terms of personality and presentation, but they offer the same gimmick. They have some magical solution to your problems, and they're willing to sell it to you for a price. A deceptively small price, which is usually a precursor to a much larger scam. Most of us have probably seen this sort of thing before. Depending on your age, you might have seen it in other mediums. In the days before the internet, infomercials would advertise this sort of crap daily. Hell, some still do. I even remember seeing some of these infomercials. I admit when I was younger and more gullible, I was enticed by them. But time, experience, and perspective have helped me realize that they were all bullshit. Moreover, I've come to learn the how and why of their bullshit. Not just in terms of why it doesn't work, but in terms of why people try to sell this stuff in the first place, as well as why people buy into it. And I get it to some extent. Unless you're rich, beautiful, or powerful, you live in a world with so many problems. Every day seems to bring new challenges. Some you can manage, but others that feel impossible. And at times, you feel miserable and stuck. You want to improve your life. You want to better yourself and those around you. Whether it involves making more money, losing weight, or finding love, you generally want to take that next step. But it's not easy. Many forces are working against you, many of which are beyond your control. And then some flashy, confident personality shows up, telling you that you can achieve all you've ever dreamed of, and it's even easier than you think. You just have to give them your time, your attention, and your money. Then they'll help you. Yes, it sounds too good to be true. And most of us are aware of the old mantra that if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. And there's certainly no shortage of stories about people being defrauded by these charismatic scammers. The high-profile crimes of people like Bernie Madoff are known to many. And yet, a part of us is still tempted. Even if another part of us keeps telling us that it's a scam, we still want to believe it. We want to believe that all the success we crave is as easy as buying into some guru's program. But even if you believe it with all your heart and buy into it with everything you have, it never pans out. Not in the way you hope. Now, I know that sounds depressing, if not somewhat nihilistic. But I promise you, I'm not making this video just to crush your hopes and dreams. I also won't pretend that I can relate to anyone else's struggles, because everybody's circumstances, skills, and limitations are unique. There is no one program or recourse that can make everyone's life as good as a rich guru's big budget commercial. But I do want to offer something to those seeking a better life, whatever that might entail. I also want to offer a perspective that I hope will help reveal why these bullshit gurus are wrong on every level. Because there are ways to improve your life, and it's not exactly groundbreaking. But to understand it, I'll need to lay out some basic truths. They may come off as harsh, but I promise it's not meant to be. Just think of this as a foundation of sorts. You see, in order to achieve success at whatever goal you seek, be it money, love, or winning the Super Bowl, you need at the very least these simple precursors. One is talent, which not everyone has. Another is a willingness to work harder than the competition, which not everyone can do. Random opportunities that you can take advantage of, which may never come along and which you may never even notice. And finally, knowing the right people and or making the right personal connections, which not everyone is in a position to do. Now, aside from putting in the work, some of these items are dictated by forces far beyond our control. None of us decide the circumstances of our birth, nor do we decide what talents we possess. You can be the most determined, hardworking person in the world, spending every waking hour on a singular goal. But you're still never going to achieve as much as someone who has real, God-given talent. There may very well be football players out there who work harder than Tom Brady and are more determined than him. But that still won't be enough, because Tom Brady was just born with an exceedingly rare talent for throwing a football. But it's those latter details I mentioned that tend to get overlooked even more. Because, like it or not, much of our success in terms of achieving our goals depends on some level of blind luck. You can do everything right, follow all the rules, and be the best you can possibly be given your circumstances and talents. And it still might not amount to much if you don't get those necessary lucky breaks, be it a job that leads you to the right places or a party that introduces you to the right people. A lot of that is just dumb luck, but some of that is just a willingness to put yourself in new places and make new connections with other people, some of whom you might not like. That old mantra of, it's not what you know, it's who you know, that's largely accurate. Because opportunities often arise through personal connections, and you never know which connections will actually lead to something. And that, in many respects, is an understated skill, and one I seriously wish I'd worked on more in the earlier parts of my life. I've said before that I had very poor social skills as a kid and as a teenager. And because of those poor skills, I likely missed out on many meaningful connections, some of which could have led to some much better opportunities. Now, I still got lucky because my circumstances were better than most. I got into a good school. I had loving, supportive parents and siblings who helped me through the many challenges of my life, both personal and professional. And of the few connections I managed to make, I found ways to get the most out of them. Now, you could say most of that was luck, but I don't entirely agree with that. Yes, some of it was luck, but the rest was just me being willing, able, and humble enough to grow in some regard. And if there's any bit of advice I can offer, it's that. You don't need as much luck as you think to succeed, but you do need to be willing to leave your comfort zone, make new connections with others, and actively seek new opportunities. They won't always lead you to the initial goal you had, but you will find success in other regards, often in ways you don't expect. Think of it like playing the lottery, but one in which you don't have to buy a ticket. But it's still not free. To play, you have to leave where you currently are, if only temporarily, and actively look for new connections and opportunities. Hitting the jackpot is exceedingly rare, but the odds actually improve the more you look, the more you connect, and most importantly, the more you learn. That's another key detail I'd like to belabor. No matter what goal you pursue or what connections you seek, always be willing to learn, especially from your failures. You may very well find that the best insights and lessons actually come from those failures. Just be willing to acknowledge and confront them. And note that only narcissists and psychopaths think they don't need to learn anything. Now, I could offer plenty other real-life examples, some of which I myself have experienced. But those would only be anecdotes, and they would only apply to the individuals who experienced them. As a result, I know such stories can only offer so much, so instead, I only ask those watching this video to do this. Take a step back, Look at where you are now and contemplate what you hope to achieve. What are you doing at this moment? How are you going about it? And is it working for you? If you feel like you're behind the curve or failing, then use these insights to reevaluate your approach. What are some new personal connections you can make? Where and how are some new opportunities you can pursue? Just how hard are you willing to work? How far out of your comfort zone are you willing to venture? The answer to these questions will vary. Whether you're an aspiring YouTuber, a star athlete, an unpaid fast food worker, or a high school student unsure of their future, there are many factors to consider. But you should always be willing to refine your perspective. Understand and remind yourself that this is a chaotic, unforgiving, unfair world. It owes us nothing, and no amount of magical thinking will change that. But we do have some measure of control over our destiny. It's not much, but it's probably more than you realize. You may very well have limitations that others don't, be they circumstantial or legitimate health issues. But we are all playing the same game of life. We're all just dealt different cards. The odds are rarely in our favor, but we can do things to affect those odds if we're willing to navigate the challenges before us. Now, I offer this advice free and without charge. I'm asking for no money in returns, only for favorable likes, comments, and subs. For however many end up seeing this video, I sincerely hope it helps someone. If nothing else, I just hope it dissuades others from buying into whatever crap those success gurus are selling. Thanks for watching, everyone, and thanks for joining me in my world. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and until next time, take care and stay safe.